Hello everyone, this is Venomite here, and today I have yet another Avengers X Shooter story. So this is a Tony Stark X Shooter story, and it is simply titled Storms and Laughs. And I will not talk about the inspiration for this story because I rather not go down that rabbit hole. But I will say that it came off of a story that I heard where someone was alone in the rain and they basically were taken in. So that's really the furthest I'm going to go in explanation with that because I don't want to get demonetized. Don't ask. But anyway, I think that this story is relatively okay. It does contain some minor language. But other than that, this is really safe for everyone who is watching, but it does contain some language, so it kind of counts as not for kids. So there's that. So why not get started? Let's go. You were walking down the streets of New York in the pouring rain. You were completely soaked. You shivered as you tried to keep yourself warm, but it seemed as though for once the streets were barren. You looked around, desperately seeking shelter. As you were walking down the streets of soaking wet New York, you were suddenly pulled into an alley and out of your thoughts. A man with a greasy look to him pulled you into the alley. Hey there, cutie pie. How about I help you warm up? No, let me go. Oh, what's wrong? Afraid I'll bite? 'Cause I will. You inhaled through your nose. You let out a scream so loud it resembled a Banshee scream. The man grew mad and covered your mouth. Shut your face, bitch! Just as this man tried to kiss your neck, a blast of sheer energy shot his way, barely touching you. The man fell to the ground with a loud thud. You quickly turned and saw a floating figure above you. Tony? Tony Stark? His face of the suit popped open and he landed. He stepped past and picked the guy up who was harassing you. Listen. There's this new app called Tinder or OkCupid. Maybe you should try something like that before pulling a beautiful girl into an alley. You got that? Otherwise... He chuckled. Otherwise you can expect something like this to happen. He then punched the man into a brick wall. The man groaned and curled up in pain. Then, Tony turned around to face you. He walked over and out of instinct you backed up. Hey, calm down. I'm not gonna hurt you. Alright. Come on, he said as he picked you up bridal style. Where are we going? To Stark Tower. You look like you need to dry off. Okay. Right. Alright. Now. He began to slowly fly off the ground. But then he said as his mask went back on. Hold on tight. When you guys got there, your heart was pounding. You had never been a big fan of heights or roller coasters, so having Tony Stark fly you all across the city to Stark Tower was both fun and petrifying. You were afraid of crushing him with how you were holding on to him so tightly. You really must not like heights, do you? No. Every time my friends drag me onto a roller coaster, I tend to scream at them, saying stuff along the lines of "I hate you." He laughed at that, and he got butterflies in your gut. You just made the Tony Stark laugh. You shook your head lightly and scurried that thought away. He hooked up with literally any girl he walked upon, so perhaps this was a tactic he was using on you for the same purpose. You sat down on the couch and shivered. You thought about how your pet name, was probably scared shitless without you there to comfort them. But as you were lost in thought about how you also forgot to pick up their favorite treat, a blanket was thrown onto your head. Ah! You yelled. You freed yourself from its grip and looked over at Tony with a glare. He held up a straight face and just said, "You didn't catch." You both held each other's gaze for a few seconds before you bursted out laughing. He smiled and followed suit with a chuckle. Cannot talk. Tony offered you a place to stay until the storm clears up, and you happily agreed. Thank you. He smiled again and waved his hand as a way to say, "You're welcome." Tony then asked what your favorite movie/TV show was. You were confused but answered. He then said, "Jarvis, put on..." He caught himself. "I'm your name. Your name. Put on your name's request." "Certainly, sir." You smiled and tucked yourself deeper into your blanket. Tony then came over and sat down, handing you a cup of hot cocoa/coffee/tea. "Thank you." You then cautiously sipped at the beverage before deciding that it was still a tad bit too hot. Meanwhile, Tony made a vital mistake you've done before. He took a sip and choked at how hot it was. "You okay, Tony?" Yes, he said through a strained voice. His face said otherwise. The face he made as he chuckled with the hot beverage made you giggle uncontrollably. Oh, do you want to try this? He said, playfully offended. No thanks. I like to keep my thanks. No thanks. I like to keep my taste buds. Thank you, though. You both watched that film for some time. As I was playing, I decided to ask a question. Hey, Tony? Yes, sweetheart? You ignored the blush in your face. Is it true that when you saw the Lego Batman movie that you walked out when Batman said Iron Man sucks? He groaned, his head laid back in annoyance. Yes, because he was beyond wrong. Actually, sir, the correct word would be because he was very wrong. Shut up, Jarvis. Yes, sir. He laughed loudly, resembling a cackle. He gave you a deer in the headlights like as you were on the verge of tears. You finally caught your breath, allowing yourself to breathe from the hilarious occurrence. Some people believe that Tony Stark was a know-it-all man who thought he was the best of the best. Well, that may have been true in a sense. He was also kind and generous. After all, if he didn't care about anyone, he wouldn't be off saving the world or you. If he so desired, he could have left you with that sick of a man. But he didn't. When you gathered up the courage, you asked if there was a way he can escort you home. You needed to be there for a pet name. Besides, staying overnight at Stark Tower would be very awkward for you. Very quickly. Pardon me. Even if it didn't progress, it could in the public's eyes. Last thing you needed were people giving you shit for staying overnight at a playboy's house. So you resorted to just asking him to get you home. Aw, and here I thought we got along so well. I guess I was wrong. No. It's just that I have to look after my pet. They're probably scared without me. And plus, if I were to bring them here, well, that still would scare them. No offense, but they aren't used to big spaces. I'm worried they'll rip your tower inside out. By this point, you were rambling. You knew this, but words kept flowing out about how sorry you were and such. Tony quickly gathered that since before you two got to the tower that you were the skittish type, so you had a feeling that you would ramble yourself into a black hole if he didn't pull you back towards reality. So he just walked up to you. That made you more nervous, and you weren't even making words at this point. You were just spitting out syllables that had never made it out to be more than that. Tony smiled and put a finger on your lips. Your name. It's fine. I can get you home easy peasy. Now, do you want to fly in the suit or ride in the limo? I don't think I've ever been in a limo, but he smiled. I'd like to fly with the suit. He chuckled. He put on his suit and held you outside once more. Before his faceplate went on, he just said, "Hang on tight, sweet cheeks." And you both lifted off the ground. Jarvis directed him to your home, which was the barren apartment building. He felt just a tiny bit, embarrassed by the looks of it. But when you were placed on the ground, Tony was about to take off. But you stopped him. Hey, do you want to grab a cup of coffee? Maybe Saturday at noon? His faceplate went on one more time. Sure thing, your name. One more thing. How did you remember my name? He rolled his eyes. I asked Jarvis what your name was. You giggled. Bye-bye, Mr. Stark. See you, miss your name. To be continued. I really think that the story could have probably been a little bit better, and you're not allowed to ask what the inspiration for the story was at all, because I'm not going to tell you guys. That is a secret. But, anyway, this story was really fun and enjoyable to write, and I really am happy with how it turned out. Although I am sad that I had to cut it off at an ending there, and I am not too satisfied with the ending, but I think that the cliffhanger is going to be fun to write, and it's going to be really enjoyable to make a part 2. But I have 2 stories that are Husband Hotel related coming up very soon. One is the part 2 to the Serpentis story, and the other is a Angel Dust Extruder story. So be looking forward to those in the near future. But anyway, guys, thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, this is Serpentis Writer, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. Bye-bye!